This week we're discussing the role of nuclear power. In its civilian use, nuclear power works in much the same way as electricity generated from the combustion of fossil fuels. The nuclear reactor generates the heat that boils the water, which creates steam, which then drives the turbine and generates electricity. The difference is that the heat is generated via controlled nuclear fission, or the splitting of nuclei in atoms. For many years, the policy debates around nuclear power have been highly contentious, with both proponents and opponents making impassioned pleas for their side. Nuclear saw its rise in the decades after the Second World War, when the technology originally developed for military purposes was turned to civilian use. A number of countries, including France and Japan, built a fleet of nuclear reactors as a strategic energy choice to lessen their dependence on imported fossil fuels. In the process, nuclear power received significant financial and political support. But disasters like Chernobyl in 1986 and Fukushima in 2011 have had a dramatic impact on the sector, mobilizing resistance to the further use of nuclear power. Long-term waste storage and high upfront cost issues too are largely unresolved to date. And yet, in an age of anthropogenic climate change, many see nuclear power as an important player in the energy mix, given its low carbon emissions profile compared to fossil fuel alternatives. Countries like China, India and Russia are in the process of building a number of new reactors. There are potential technological solutions on the horizon too, with smaller scale reactors able to mitigate the financial risk of large installations, and nuclear fission using thorium instead of enriched uranium as a way to address the security concerns associated with nuclear proliferation. Ultimately, the key question going forward is whether or not we can afford to move into a low-carbon future without nuclear power. If global climate change is our overriding priority, do we need to invest more in all feasible low-carbon technologies, including nuclear? Or do the downsides of the technology make it too risky and costly a proposition?